giving a brief synopsis about graduate school overview and like how to apply, things like that.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, next. So the things that we're going to talk about is the GRE, how to research grad schools, the application, your letters of recommendation, your personal statement, curriculum vitae, writing samples, and all that jazz. So first things first, the first hurdle to go over when you're trying to apply to grad school is the GRE. And this structure is actually the computer-based one. There's a little bit of the difference between the paper-based and the computer-based, but not real big. And it's basically for prospective students a criteria of admission to grad school and it has 3 separate parts: the analytical writing, verbal reasoning, and quantitative. The analytical writing has 2 parts where you will analyze an issue and also analyze an argument task. And this section is just to analyze, for the readers to analyze how well you can use your critical thinking skills, your ability to form an argument, and your verbal reasoning skills. And then the next section is verbal reasoning also, and then your quantitative reasoning will measure it's just a basic overview of algebra, geometry, basic stats, things like that. And then how to register for the GREs. There's, like I said there before, there's a paper-based test that's available 3 times a year. And there's also a computer-based test, and it can be taken once per month and up to 5 times per year. You can register online or or mail. If you visit the ets.org website and you want to register by mail, you just print the application form, fill it out, and send in like a check or money order of $160 for the fee for the test. Or you can register online. And once you register online, you'll have to create a GRE account. It's basically like a sign-in page where you can go and pick the location that you would like to take the GRE at, your test date and time, things like that. You also, generally, what helps is registering for the GRE before studying, because once you register, you know what date you have to take it, so it makes you want to study more. It's also a good idea to take the GRE this summer before your senior year. And many students also take it during the fall of their senior year, but what makes it harder is during the fall, you have all your classes going on, your exams and homework, whereas in the summertime, I know it's a lot harder to study because you want to go out and do things, but it's just a lot easier to study. That way you don't have any other interferences while you're in school taking it. And then also make sure you follow up on the rescheduling policies. There's 3 full days before your test date, and then there's also a fee to reschedule. Also, if you don't make it on time to your test date, even if you're a few minutes late, they will not let you in at all. My roommate was 5 minutes late, and they canceled her exam, and she had to repay the $160 and retake it. So it's also a good idea if you want to go the day before, just to know where your location is at, where you can park, things like that. Just make everything smooth sailing for you the first day. And then next. So your final note on the GREs, like I said, is just prepare for them well in advance. A general rule of thumb is to study 1 month before, so no less than 4 weeks or no more than 12 weeks. Your scores will automatically be sent to you and the schools you listed on the registration form. At the end of the test or the beginning of the test, you just write what schools you want your scores to send to, and I think you can get up to 3 or 4 that day. And then if you decide you want to apply to more graduate schools, once you get your scores, you can go online and you pay, I think it's $25, $26 to send it to each additional school. And then also they will give you, at the end of your exam, they will give you a range of your scores, and then your final scores will come out later, and they'll be emailed to you, and you can also check them on your GRE account website. And then make sure that your scores are sent to the schools ahead of time, so you don't just say, for instance, your deadline for your application for graduate school is in December. You don't want to take it in December, 2 weeks before your application is due. You want to allow them to have enough time to grade your GRE and then also send it to the schools that you're applying to. And then researching graduate schools. It's a good idea to start researching maybe your spring or junior year, best in the fall, because a lot of application dates are the earliest. I think there's some of them I've seen are November, and they go all the way until March and April, some even in May. It just depends on what school you're deciding to apply to. So the first things first is you want to figure out what programs you're interested in and whether or not you'll have to take either the GRE, which is the general exam, or if you're going to law school, you might have to take the LSAT or med school, things like that. And then once you're interested in the school's program, you should go to their websites, find out what specific requirements they have, how many credit hours, You know, what's the faculty like, whether they're more of a research-based school or experiential-based school. And you also want to decide whether you want a PhD, a PsyD, or a master's. A master's degree typically takes about 2 to 3 years. A PhD and a PsyD are about 4 to 6 years. And also the difference between a PsyD and a PhD is that a PhD focuses more on research, whereas PsyD focuses more on your experiential base. And they're more into doing clinical, internships and things like that. And then also another thing you want to think about when researching grad school is where do you want to go? Like, what location would you like to be at? For instance, I would like to stay in Virginia, so I could be a licensed professional counselor because the accreditation is a lot harder in Virginia than to switch to other states. So for me, what my interest is, it makes no sense for me to go out of state and then try and transfer back to Virginia. So my specific, schools that I'm looking at are within Virginia. Next. Okay, so you decide on which grad schools you want to apply to, and then now what? Like I said before, you want to research the program's website for any information, what classes they take, what research interests the faculties are involved in, how long it may take you, things like the number of credit hours. So check the school's website to see if they have an online application, or some of them are paper-based, but a lot of them are now switching to an online application. Just email faculty members in the program who you might be interested in working with. It's a good way to talk with the faculty members, that's someone that you might be working with, and you can develop a research, relationship or experience base, and also another way to get your name in the program. That way they can maybe have something nice to say to your, to your admission packet. Also look for see if financial aid is available if it's not listed on the program's website. Check out other graduate departments for other information. You can always email, you can always call them. A lot of grad schools offer graduate assistantships or fellowships where you can work for the school or work for a program, and they will either pay most of your tuition or pay part of it. Next. And then, so what exactly is the graduate application? These are just the different parts, and we'll go over each of these right now. So the application form is just your basic information of your name, address, your phone number, education, and so on. Those will generally do online, or you can create an account, things like that, or fill it out on the paper-based application. Next will be your personal statement. Each school has a different, personal statement or a letter of intent. They might ask you a question as to, describe yourself in 200, 300 words, or what are your career aspirations, or how do you think that you would fit into this program? And so it's a way for you to sell yourself, and also a way, if you didn't have a really good GRE score, you can set it off by, writing a really good personal statement. And in your personal statement, you generally want to lay out your research interests and the reasons why you're applying to that specific graduate school, and why you would be a good fit. So even though they're saying, oh, talk about yourself, your top 10 qualities or whatever, you want to make sure that those qualities are the qualities that the school is looking for, and how you specifically match and what you can offer to that program. So don't just talk about yourself, but talk about how you match with that graduate program. And then this personal statement is used to assess how well you fit with the department. Next.
Take it back a slide. I skipped one last time.
Huh?
I skipped one, so take it back one. Like you have to add this one. Sorry.
Your letters of recommendation. Okay, so check your program for specifics. Some programs will ask for 2 recommendations, 3 or 4, and you may want to make sure that you ask people that are extremely important and that know you very well. And there's a difference between a professor writing a good letter of recommendation and a really great one. Usually you want to, ask a professor that you've done research with, or that you've had internships or a directed study, or you've taken many classes with. Someone that can really comment on your overall academic record and how well you could probably fit with that graduate program. And you want to make sure that you give these forms to the recommenders well before the due date. It's great if you make like a binder or a folder, talk for each grad school that they'll apply to, like the program description. Make sure you write big and bold like the due dates for that school, and then maybe give them a resume or your transcript, every kind of additional information that they can use to help write a good recommendation for you. And a general rule of thumb is to give them like a month before the due date. But a lot of teachers, depending on who you ask, they might want it more than a month. Some might want 6 weeks, some might want 8 weeks. And then ensure that the recommendations are submitted to the schools in which you're applying to. Some teachers will be sent like an email through the graduate school to write your recommendation through there. Others might have to type, a letter, things like that. So you want to make sure that you give them a self-addressed envelope with a stamp. That way they don't have to do it. They're doing something nice for you, so you want to make sure that you go the extra mile to help them out. And it's also good to send them like a handwritten thank you note afterwards. And it's always okay to check in on those teachers every once in a while. Just be like, hey, did you send the recommendation in or this and that? You don't want to wait till the last minute, then things are all out of chaos. And also just make sure that you keep them in mind, during finals week, they have a lot of things going on, or in the middle of the semester, they're busy too, just as much as you are. So you want to make sure you just give them plenty of time to write those recommendations for you. And also, many other students are applying to grad school and asking them for recommendations as well. Your curriculum vitae or your resume. What's great about the vitae compared to the resume is that your resume is very short, sweet, and to the point. Whereas your curriculum vitae, you can really go into detail and talk about your research experiences, professional experiences, volunteer, leadership roles, things like that, as well as highlight any additional skills you have. And you can provide information on any extracurricular activities or memberships. So it's basically like a resume, your vitae, but it's just more detail oriented. And then each school will say whether or not they want your curriculum vitae or your resume. And you can list any publications or conferences that you've been to, but you definitely don't want to list the courses that you have taken because they're also going to see your transcript. So it makes no sense to to show them twice. Writing samples. Not every school will ask for a sample of your work, but some will. And this is just to show that they want to see that you can write and you can critically analyze arguments, things like that. So it's best to submit a copy of a paper with a grade and comments from the instructor, not just one you wrote and saved on your computer or whatever. That way they can see what you actually got on the paper and how with the comments that your teacher have written on your paper. And it's to show that you can synthesize information and are capable of critical thought. So your transcripts. They want your official transcripts to be sent to the school, and you can go send these through My Madison. There's a maximum of 5 requests per day, and you have to allow 3 to 5 business days for processing. You will receive a receipt from the registrar's office once they have been sent. Make sure that you request these early enough. That way, it gives the registrar enough time to send them to the schools that you want. And some schools will ask for either 1 to 2 copies, just depending on the program. Also, deadlines for different schools are generally between, like I said, November, December, all the way to March. I know a lot of counseling programs are December through February, whereas human resources, where a lot of people that I know were doing them through April and May. So just keep in mind that when you're looking for grad schools, you don't really want to wait till the last minute junior, senior, because if you find out you really like a program, the due date could be long gone before then. But are there any more questions?
Thanks, Sarah. By the way, I'm Megan. I'm the symposium coordinator for peer advising. But if you don't get into grad schools, don't worry. It's not a huge thing. It's not the end of the world. Or if grad schools just aren't for you, if you don't want to do 2 more years of school, that's okay too. Just a general stat. Individual graduate programs accept 6 to 20% of students. So if 200 people apply, they may only accept 12 applicants. So the pool that they accept can be kind of small. They can choose how many they want. If they don't like 12 applicants, they'll only take 6. It just kind of depends on the individual programs. And typically PhD programs are much lower in the number that they accept. If you don't get accepted, it's okay. There's plenty more options, and that's kind of what we're going to transition into now. So, and after you gain some more experience, you can always reapply.
Hi, I'm Megan too, and I'm going to be talking to you about other schooling options. Basically, we're going to go over graduate school gen eds, social work programs, nursing programs, and research assistants at different universities. Graduate school gen eds are basically for those who don't get accepted into a particular program. And usually they allow 9 credits of transfer. You can apply as a non-degree seeking student, in which could be a benefit because you can see if you work well with the professors, and if so, they can get a reference from the department, which would make your application more competitive. You can also take the time in that year or semester to improve your test scores, work on your essays, and then reapply to that program. Many social work programs are easier to apply to, easier to get into and more to choose from. And you can do the accelerated path for a master's in social work, which is only 15 to 16 months, or you can do the non-accelerated path, which is 2 years, which is still the length of a normal master's program. So you can also look into online programs. I know when I was researching for this, there was a lot that were offered online, which might be something that you can look into. Nursing programs, if you decided you wanted to be a nursing major but didn't want to do it here because it's very competitive, you can also do a second degree Bachelor's of Science in Nursing, and it's designed for students who weren't a nursing major but want to get the Bachelor's of Science, and it's only 2 years long. You can do the accelerated Bachelor's of Science in Nursing, which can be completed in as little as 12 months. There's also certain programs that combine the Bachelor's of Science in Nursing and a Master's of Science in Nursing, which is pretty cool, but they're pretty longer, a little bit longer. But there's also direct entry Master's of Science in Nursing, which they're longer duration than the accelerated, but you do not get the Bachelor's of Science, but you get the Master's of Science. But the thing is that they're more competitive because nursing majors also apply to the direct entry. So that's something to keep in mind. Lastly, there's research assistants. Many universities offer research assistant positions. The only qualifications usually is to have a bachelor's degree in a certain field. So if you want to do psychology research, I know there's a lot out there. They pay approximately $30,000, which isn't too bad, right out of college. And they're great if you want to actually attend that school. I know NYU is offering one this summer, and it gives you research experience if you didn't have that in undergrad and you want to gain that before you apply to graduate school. If I were you, I'd talk to professors in the department about openings for positions. They seem to get a lot of emails in, and they usually forward it on to students. And also, you can look abroad, which could be fun. Okay. And that's all I have to say about other schooling options. Questions?
Hi, my name is Lindsay, and I'm going to be discussing some of the different volunteer and service opportunities that would be available to you after graduation from JMU. So if you're interested in volunteering, either short-term or long-term after graduation, there are tons of opportunities that you can look to. I really encourage you to just do a Google search because you can find tons of programs that are available here in the U.S. and abroad. But today I'm going to talk about 3 that you may or may not be familiar with already. And those are AmeriCorps, Peace Corps, and something a little different, Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms. I think it's kind of cool, kind of funky, so let's tell you a little bit about it. Okay, so you might be wondering, why would volunteering benefit me straight after graduation when I could just get a job? Excuse me. Well, first of all, volunteers are always needed. Everybody loves a set of helping hands, and opportunities are always available. And getting a job is kind of hard when you don't have experience right after school, and it's really hard to get experience if you can't get a job. With the job market being the way it is, it can be kind of difficult to get a job as soon as you graduate. So volunteering is going to give you an opportunity to gain a lot of experience, either in your field of interest or in a completely different field that may open you to different opportunities. Volunteering is going to give you a chance to develop some important and necessary skills that are ultimately going to enhance your resume. So these include professional skills, workplace skills, interpersonal skills. If you go abroad to volunteer, you may gain knowledge of a different language. Volunteering can give you an opportunity to immerse yourself in a different culture, to gain some cultural sensitivity skills as well. And on a more altruistic level, it's going to give you an opportunity to give back. So the first program that I'm going to talk about is AmeriCorps. And AmeriCorps is a United States federal government program that offers thousands of service opportunities through networks with local and national nonprofit organizations. So it is based in the United States, it's not international, and it's often referred to as a domestic Peace Corps for this reason. And as an AmeriCorps volunteer, you would address many important needs in communities all across America, and these may include mentoring disadvantaged youth, improving health services, building affordable housing, cleaning parks and streams, helping communities recover from disasters, and many, many more. Okay, AmeriCorps is comprised of 3 major programs, and I'm going to briefly talk about each one. The first one is AmeriCorps State and National, which is the largest of the 3. And this supports a broad range of local service programs by providing funds to different organizations and industries that exist nationally to address community issues such as education, health-related issues. And the funds are used to train and supervise the members of AmeriCorps. And volunteers provide intensive service to meet the critical needs of the communities that you would be living in. The second program is AmeriCorps Vista, which is specifically designed to fight poverty. So members are involved with expanding and creating programs that help communities rise above poverty. So you may be fighting illiteracy, creating businesses, improving healthcare services, things like that. Things that are gonna help communities and individuals in the community rise above poverty. And as a volunteer, you would spend 1 year full-time at a profit organization doing this. And the third program is AmeriCorps National Civilian Community Corps, or NCCC. And this is a little different as it's a program that's designed to strengthen communities and develop leaders through team-based service projects. So instead of serving individually, you would be in a team of 8 to 12 people in 1 of 5 regions across the United States, and you would be working in partnership with various local nonprofit organizations within that region. So one of the regions is Denver, so we'd be going around Denver working in different places in a team. So what are the application requirements? Some eligibility requirements are program specific, and there's some different time commitment requirements. It really just depends on the program, so just look at the website and you can get specific details. But generally speaking, to be an AmeriCorps volunteer, you need to be a U.S. citizen, a U.S. national, or a lawful permanent resident alien. You need to be 17 years of age or older and available to serve full or part-time over a 9 to 12-month period or over the summer. And some of the programs require a bachelor's degree, but it won't be an issue once you graduate from JMU. And also, a lot of these people are just seeking motivated, passionate, and committed individuals that want to help make a difference. So if you got that, you should be good. There is an application process, and you can get specific details about it online, but generally speaking, there are 2 deadline dates, one in the fall, or one in the spring for the fall cycle, and then one in the summer for the winter cycle. However, they encourage you to apply early because selection is continuous, rolling, and some of the classes fill up before the deadline. There's an interview process, which involves a phone interview that follows the screening to make sure that you are a committed applicant, and then you're notified at a later date. And the whole process usually takes about 2 months. Okay. There are some tangible benefits to becoming an AmeriCorps volunteer. Many members receive a modest living allowance and health insurance. And as far as the living allowance goes, it's not a ton, obviously, but it's enough to, buy groceries and stuff. Some programs provide housing, and each member who successfully finishes a term serving for AmeriCorps will receive a Siegel AmeriCorps Education Award, which can be used to pay for educational expenses, receive educational training, repay some student loans, and you have 7 years to claim this award after your service, so you've got some time. Okay, so the next program is the Peace Corps, and like AmeriCorps, it's an American volunteer program run by the U.S. federal government. However, it involves international service, so you'd be doing volunteer work overseas. And volunteers serve in numerous countries all over the world, including Asia, Africa, the Caribbean, Central America, South America, Europe, Pacific Islands, and the Middle East. So really you have the opportunity to go anywhere you want, which is kind of neat. And as a volunteer, you would provide technical assistance in a variety of different areas that I'll specify in just a minute. However, members are also involved in spreading cultural awareness. So once you come back as a volunteer from the country that you're serving in, you would spread awareness around here in the States about the country that you were in and the culture that you were in. And you would also be spreading some American cultural awareness to the country that you're in doing service. And volunteers live, learn, and work overseas for a total of 27 months. So the type of work that you would be doing as a Peace Corps volunteer depends on the country that you go to. But generally speaking, the work would fall under one of these categories. Education, so you'd be working in the classroom, helping to enhance students' critical thinking skills. Youth and community development, so working with at-risk youth. Health, improving health services. Business and information and communications technology, which would involve helping to expand businesses and improve businesses and teaching individuals computer skills that they may need. Agriculture, which could involve increasing food production by working with farmers. The environment, so improving environmental conditions. And then within each of the programs, members are generally involved in spreading HIV/AIDS awareness and food security awareness through different projects. Okay. So to be an eligible applicant for Peace Corps, you have to be 18 years of age or older. However, there's no upper age limit, so you don't have to necessarily apply immediately after you graduate. 90% of Peace Corps volunteer positions require a bachelor's degree, even though there are no specific requirements stated. A bachelor's degree is one of them. However, work, hobbies, and other volunteer experiences are taken into consideration when you apply. There is an application process as well, like AmeriCorps, and it generally takes between 6 and 12 months to complete. The first part involves just a normal application, typical, form, essays, things like that. Next is an interview, and then following an interview, there's a nomination, which involves a recommendation to continue on to the next stage of the process. After that, they kind of review your medical, legal, suitability, and competitive history, and then they'll invite you to be a Peace Corps volunteer, and then you would prepare for departure. There are also some benefits in addition to just a great career building experience. Deferment or partial cancellation of student loans while you're volunteering. Transition funds, so you could receive up to $7,500. Free travel, you won't be paying the expense to go to the country that you're going to. A monthly living allowance like you would receive as an AmeriCorps volunteer. You get some vacation time each month. You would receive medical and dental care as well as health insurance. And there's no fee to participate as a volunteer in the Peace Corps. There are also some graduate school advantages included if you decide to or want to be a Peace Corps volunteer. You can earn academic credit during your time of service, and you become eligible for different scholarships, reduced tuition, things like that. And there are two unique programs that you can attain these advantages from, and you can find the details online for those. So let's say that you graduate from JMU and you want to do something, a little off the wall. Well, I learned about this in Dr. E's graduate school class last semester, and I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. But the organization is called Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms. And simply put, it's a network of organization that links volunteers with organic farmers all over the world. So as a volunteer, you would be helping people share more sustainable ways of living and learning how to farm organically, things like that, and just creating a healthier world in the process. Wolf organizations worldwide inform interested volunteers of opportunities that become available. They become available kind of sporadically, and you would check the website for each organization for information. And there are organizations available in North America, Latin America, Europe, the Middle East, Africa, and Asia Pacific. So again, you have the opportunity to go pretty much anywhere in the world. So the experience. Organic farmers, small holdings, and gardeners welcome volunteers at various times, like I said, so you just have to check when volunteer opportunities are available for you to go. And woofers, as they're called, choose among the hosts, so you have freedom to choose. And basically you just arrange to live and work with the host family, and they're going to teach you different ways, different skills to farm organically, things like that. And the diversity of hosts offer a variety of tasks and opportunities for you as a volunteer. Okay, who woofs? So woofers are genuinely interested in learning about organic farming and living an ecologically sound lifestyle, and they're generally those who desire to gain hands-on experiences of organic farming and other learning opportunities. However, as a psychology major, this is still incredibly relevant to you because it's giving you a chance to immerse yourself in a different culture, to gain cultural sensitivity skills, to learn a variety of different skills that you could probably use in the workplace later on, and just an opportunity to help others out. Also, if the issue of sustainable living is of interest to you and you want to become more involved, more passionate, this is probably a great way to do that. And some of the requirements to become a woofer: you're not going to pay the host that you're living with, and conversely, they're not going to pay you. However, you're living as a part of their family, so they're giving you housing, they're giving you food in return for the work that you're providing for them. And there is a small fee charged by the WOOF organization that the host that you go to live with is associated with in whatever part of the world that you go to. Question?
Hello, I'm Nicole. I'm going to be talking about teaching. So along with the volunteering theme going on, I'm going to go over some different options for maybe you became like a TA in one of your classes and you really like caught fire and really liked it, but now you're like a junior or senior and you're like, great, I'm not a education major. So here's some opportunities for you to get some more experience with teaching. First, I'm going to go over Teach for America. Teach for America is a growing movement of leaders who work to ensure that kids growing up in poverty get an excellent education. It is a 2-year time commitment in a low-income community, and you have the opportunity to go to 43 different regions across the country, the majority of which are on kind of like the eastern half of the United States, but there is one in like Hawaii and Seattle and Las Vegas. So there's some on the West Coast as well, just not as many. There's a high demand for people who are interested in being math and science teachers and who work in early childhood education, special education, and Spanish and bilingual education. There is a potential, like most of the ones Lindsay was talking about, for graduate school scholarships and help with pre-existing loans. And there's a salary, so you do get paid for your 2 years that you're teaching. It's usually around $30,000 to $50,000, and this is sounds like it might be like a pretty good deal, but they really only give you enough to pay for your apartment, your groceries, your bills. You're not going to be able to have free spending money because you are trying to help people that are in poverty. So it's a volunteer experience. And then the application process is very similar to the ones that we've been going over, where there's just an online application that's accepted between August and February. There's 4 or 5 dates between those months that they accept applications that require personal, academic, and professional information, the resume, your letter of intent. And then once you go through the first round of the application process, then they'll contact you for a phone interview just to get a better feel for who you are and your character. And then if you make it through that step, then you get a final interview. And then if you make it, then you're accepted, yay, and you go to a month-long summer training program where you get a temporary teaching certificate and you get specialized training on the subject that you chose to teach. So it's really exciting. And the type of people, the type of qualities and characteristics that they look for in people would be someone who is organized, leadership skills, strong critical thinking skills, interpersonal skills, and ability to motivate others, because you are going to be working in a poverty-stricken area, so you need to be able to motivate those kids because they probably have a rough home life. So you need to have like positive inspiration. And then say Teach for America doesn't really appeal to you. You want to like branch out, maybe go to another country, or you don't have 2 years that you want to spend having some teaching job. You can do World Teach, which is a nonprofit organization that provides opportunities for individuals to make a meaningful contribution to international education by living and working as a volunteer teacher in developing societies. So this is another one where you're going to be working with lower income individuals, except for it's branched out into other countries. And it's really cool because you get to choose between a year-long semester or a summer program. So if you just want to do it in between like graduating and then having a job in September, you can go to like Bangladesh for the summer and teach little kids English or something. So I thought that was a really cool opportunity. But the difference is that for World Teach, there is a fee. And it's about $2,000 to $5,000 depending on the time period that you go. Obviously, the year-long ones are going to be more expensive. And the place that you choose to go. There is a fee, but the money that you spend to go is all like coming back to you. Like that's the money that it takes to train you, sending you, preparing you, and like supporting you while you're there. So that money, it's not like you're just like throwing it away and then you're going over there. It's like that's what's going to be supporting you while you're there. There's 16 countries across Asia, Latin America, Africa, Europe, the Pacific Islands. So it's like the same general areas as all the other ones. And the common subjects, English, math, and science, which is pretty basic for any teaching need. And then also community health, environmental education, and HIV and AIDS prevention, because these are developing societies and they need to be educated on those. The application process, again, it's very similar to Teach for America. The only difference is that there is a university transcript that is required if you're going for the year-long or the semester. And what is also cool is that for the summer program, you don't have to have a bachelor's degree. So you can, like in between your junior and senior year of college, you can go for the summer program. But the semester and the year-long one do require a transcript. And the other requirements is that you have to be an English speaker because a lot of times you're going to need to teach English and a bachelor's degree. So then the type of people that they look for is people who are obviously interested in teaching, volunteer, international development, and intercultural understanding. Next is the Accelerated Teaching Certificate. So say you do have like a passion for teaching, you TA'd for like your favorite professor and you think it's awesome and now you want to become a teacher. But you don't just want to do it for 2 years and you don't want to do it in another country. You can do the Accelerated Teaching Certificate, which is which is a program that's designed for people with a bachelor's degree who are interested in pursuing a teaching career. And this is 2 semesters of a full-time program where usually in the morning and in like early afternoon you'll be like at a school doing field work, getting the experience like being a teacher in the classroom, and then afterwards you go to a university and you get coursework done and you like sit in the classroom and you get taught like any other thing. Yeah. And there's a lot of different programs besides the ACT that are available, and they all are pretty much the same general concept of in the morning you go into the school and then in the afternoon you go to an accredited university, and then at the end you get your teaching certificate. So, any questions? I'm nervous about it.
So I'm going to be talking to you guys about what you can do when you have a bachelor's degree, what jobs you can get afterwards. Okay, a lot of people, sometimes it's hard to afford grad school right away because it's expensive. So working for a year or 2 is a great start. You can save money and it just gives you that time in between. It's a good idea to start looking for a job before you graduate so that you're not just like in the summer kind of frantically looking. So just give you that time before. You do have a more limited opportunity when you have just a bachelor's degree because a master and a doctorate is more qualified, but you can still have a lot of jobs and opportunities. And it's a good idea to aim for a job that will give you skills that you can use further on, later on. Okay, some skills that you already have from getting a bachelor's degree in psychology is your communication skills, research skills, and interpersonal skills. So these will be helpful when you apply for jobs and you want to complement those skills and add them to your resume. So really kind of help use that to your advantage. And it's definitely going to be helpful in the workplace using those. Okay, so some psych-related options that you can do with a bachelor's degree is social work, substance abuse counselor, career counselor, child care worker, probation officer, psychiatric technicians, research technician, and database administrator. Do you want to go back? Oh. Wait, do it real quick. Okay, so social work is like a great option for people because they really, it's kind of more like geared towards psychology, like not just like a random job. So people are probably more interested in it. A substance abuse counselor will help people who have had problems with substance abuse in the past and kind of help them get back on track. So you're dealing with people and working closely with them to help them. Career counselor is someone who, if you want to help people find their own career path, that's a good option. Child care workers, you're working with children, making sure they're in stable homes, things like that. So all of these jobs that are on here are closely related to psych because you're dealing with people and you're kind of using like your helping skills that a lot of psych majors have. Okay, other options. If you can't find a job directly related to psych right off the bat, it's not like a huge deal because once you gain experience and some resume boosters, you can reapply. But marketing, sales representatives, writing, advertising agent, human resource, and real estate, all of these things are good jobs that you can get and with a bachelor's degree, you're qualified for. So if you want to do like real estate, the way that psychology can help you is that you kind of like understand the consumer a little better, how they're thinking, and you can really help them out to make sure they make the right choice. And we also have some nonprofits such as Big Brother, Big Sister. And that's a really good way to also get some interactions with people and it's just like a better experience. Okay, so you can learn some passions. If you do Big Brothers, Big Sisters and you realize that you really want to work with kids, maybe you can work and get some money and then go down that route. Big Brother, Big Sister is you provide support to children in need by giving your time and attention. So it's something that we can all relate to and do, so it's something we're qualified for. Habitat for Humanity is another nonprofit organization that is good to do with a bachelor's degree, and you're kind of building houses for those in need, and it's really just donating your time and yourself. So, any questions?
Great, guys. Thank you again for coming out. I hope you got some good information. If you have any questions on the outlines you were given, all the presenters' emails are listed at the end of their sections, and my email's at the very end of the outline. Our next Sympo, if you're more interested in grad school and you have some more questions about the GRE, it's going to be all in the GRE. We're going to give some good examples of questions and really go further in depth into what Sarah started talking about at the beginning. And it's going to be the 11th of April, 7 p.m., not in this room, but in the conference room 8 in Festival. And there's also a really cool opportunity tonight if any of you don't have anything to do. Right now we're doing our annual spring benefit. It's called Food Fight for Hunger. It's at Clementine. There's a benefit concert. There's a $3 cover charge to get in. All those bands are going to be there, and all of the proceeds from that will go to the Blue Ridge Area Food Banks and Mercy Corps. And also, if you can't go tonight but you would like to donate we're accepting canned and monetary donations in the PA office, which is in Miller 1106. Thank you guys for coming.